Hey all. So, I recently took my Ebony Maw to rank 3, primarily for defense, but I had a lot of people basically react with, oh, way to take one for the team, because Maw is seen as almost entirely a defensive rank up. He seems to not really get a whole lot of respect, based on the fact that when he was revamped, a lot of the testing was like, okay, well, the degen is decent, but he's not like the leading DPS mystic now, so what's the point, right? And I think that misses a fair amount. Because Maw's damage is still okay, and I feel like he gives me more control over a fight than a lot of other options. Now, I'm not about to say, oh, let's replace Doom with him, but I used him several times in 7.3 and in last month's CaviQ just for his control over a fight, and you're seeing a bit of that here. So, just to recap for anyone who has forgotten or hasn't yet taken this particular lane in 7.3, the opponent is almost always going to have either unblockable or unstoppable, and you have to knock them down or hit them with a heavy to change between them. And when you knock them down, you get those furies, and so as long as you stay on top of that, it allows you to do some really solid damage. Now, at this point, Maw is in his Black Tongue, so he was able to nullify any kind of buff and just completely turn off the alternation. But you can tell that the fight was already under control. We were at 100% health from the combination of his falter, his power steal, and just the way that he interacts with Mystic Dispersion. So now this is in last month's CaviQ, where when the defender throws a special, they go stun immune. But you're still going to see throughout this that Maw is just really able to control the fight well. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with how he works, to charge him up in a given fight and make his degen stronger, you need to trigger his 3 forms of miss. You need to steal his power, which you can do just by landing a heavy. You need to cause him to miss, which just happens when he throws those falters on you. And you need to nullify a buff. And he starts out with the ability to only nullify precision and fury. Maybe there's one other I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But since this node, Feats of Power, gives Dragon Man Furies, see there I trusted the falter a little too long, my bad. But since Feats of Power gives Dragon Man Furies, we can just nullify those and get that mission. So once you've done all 3, then he gets another persistent charge and does more degen damage for the rest of the fight. So intentionally block there to get rid of the power charge, and now that falter's up, every hit of the special 2 inflicts a degen, but it inflicts 2 more if falter is up, which is how we got those 9. And you're seeing pretty solid damage here. But again, full yellow bar, and that's kind of the thing that I like about playing him, is that, again, I'm not suggesting that he needs to be in that absolute upper echelon of mystics, but the damage is there, and more importantly, the utility is there. Between his falter and the safety that provides, and the control over a fight that his nullify, those free openings, and the power steal gives, I just feel really comfortable playing him. It feels safe in a way that a lot of champions don't. And I think that he's definitely being slept on as a result. Like, I'm not going to start assigning him all over the place in Alliance War offense, but in questing, especially when you can ramp him up, if you have this guy duped, and you didn't want to rank him up because either you don't like to do defense rank ups, or you just were like, well, I'm just never going to use him, maybe this helps you reconsider. I mean, we did have to switch Nightcrawler, but once we did, this was so easy. All of those precisions to nullify. Nightcrawler is a lot less scary when he misses you for so much of the fight, and then just those degens. And as I mentioned earlier, Maw really interacts well with Mystic Dispersion because it allows you to use the Nullify to get power back. If there are multiple buffs that you can nullify, either before or after you get Black Tongue, then the L1 actually pays for itself. And then beyond that, more power just means more special twos, which is still where the damage lies, and it's pretty respectable. So this is the Symbiote Supreme boss from Cavalier EQ last month. And this is not going to be the prettiest fight in the world because this is not a fight that he's tailored for. Like he's not immune to nullify, so those staggers can still do damage. And he doesn't have the kind of power control that somebody like Magic would. So we are going to have to be a little careful here. But like I said, he just feels comfortable for me to play. Between the Falter and the Power Steel for those free heavies and the nullifies, I don't know. I think in the wake of the Red Magneto rework, it's really easy to underestimate buffs if they don't immediately prove themselves world beaters. And I think that's kind of what happened here, especially because he'd already been buffed a few times, and we're like, well, this is the third time he's buffed. He needs to, destroy everything and be overpowered like he was in the movies where he was only taken out by a plot device, right? And then that didn't happen. It was easy to get, sad about it. But I really do think there's something there. Like, even the way that fight closed out, where the defender could have killed us, but by just holding block, we allowed him to come into us with a combo, and just from the time it took to finish that combo, Falter came back around, he missed us, and it gave us the opportunity to finish out the fight. That's the kind of small pieces of control that I'm talking about. So like I said, if you have a Maw and you never use him, and you never plan to rank him up, and you just kind of consider him a wasted spot on your roster, especially if you like using other Mystics, hopefully this convinces you to give him another shot. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be back soon with the final installment in my Essential Champs for Alliance War series, and I will catch y'all then. Take care.